I know what I've done. I removed the pillar that was there. That's why that looks weird. I was gonna say, I'm like, something's wrong with this picture, but I don't know what it is. But it's fine, I figured it out. I'm gonna get rid of the limestone in here as well. Big thick shanks are probably mostly protein. Yeah, I assume that they must be. That's what I assumed too, basically. It's like, it has to be, right? We're getting a little bit of power, so people are cooking. Everybody's in here cooking. Did we get the... Yeah, we got all these fixed up. I was looking at making more solar and stuff. Honestly, I considered moving my turrets out. How's this going? It's getting there. I wouldn't mind moving this over a little bit. I think it will still get it. Usually have grill attachment or something to go onto the grill. Yeah, I've seen that as well. A lot of barbecues have that whole attachment thing where you can put it on or remove it and shit if you don't want to use it. I always thought that that was fascinating because I'm like, in Australia, like, we have like specific things that we like will use it for, you know, like the grill side, like you want to put like a couple of snags and shit on that, or like a steak or whatever chop, right? Miscellaneous meat chop. And then on the other side, on the flatbed, you want to put like potatoes and onions and maybe some bread and some other shit, right? That's what that side's for. That's why we refer to it as all a barbecue, because from our perspective, we're using the whole barbecue. It's like, you know, the nature's way kind of thing. We're using the whole animal, but it's the whole barbecue. It's the same shit. We're being very nature friendly. Anyway, that's not a sentence I ever thought I'd say in my life. But yeah, no, we use the whole fucking barbecue. Like basically most of the time whenever we cook. So yeah, it's usually like, I don't know, it's pretty well like used, especially if you do have more than 2 people eating, because then obviously it what do you call it? It takes up a lot of the space of the actual grill and shit on both sides. Like, I know I grew up with like a stone-mounted barbecue, so I always thought it was really, really weird seeing like these portable ones, because I'm like, why would you ever want to move it? Like, as a kid, I'm like, why would you ever move a barbecue? Because it's like, you just find a spot, you put it there, and you host shit around it. That's like, it made so much sense. But as an adult, I can see that you don't want to have shit out all the time, or you may not be using it all the time, and therefore you might want to maybe stow it away when it's not in use. Or perhaps, even on the off chance, maybe entertain at a different location, God forbid. And yeah, so obviously I worked this shit out as I grew up and stuff. Like, the logic came with it. I might buy some of your pemmican and stuff. I know I'd be trading off for like meat and stuff. You don't want to buy food off me. I do have silver though. I could buy your pemmican. You don't have more components. I don't need more herbal medicine. I don't need your drugs. I literally just offloaded that shit on you guys a moment ago. I have psychic suit pulses. They've got a spare one. I could afford that. We could get that. And I might as well just grab some plasteel. And yeah, we'll come home with a tiny bit of silver. This is not bad. Alright, keep going with that. That's not a bad trade. Like, we got a lot of plasteel out of that, so I'm not mad. We got a lot of pemmican too, so that's great. The cat noise sounded more like a FNAF animatronic than a cat noise. Look, Phoenix has Phoenix sound effects. Like I said, this is literally what I was saying the other day about, like, you know how, I don't know, you might not have caught this one, but when I was playing Diablo, I was literally saying how, like, I used to have a lot of, like, my very, like, early comments on my YouTube videos and stuff where, oh, you have to be a guy using a voice changer, blah, 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 because, you know, internet. Anyway, I'm like, I literally disapprove it every single night when Phoenix comes in here and screams, because he doesn't just turn into, like, a magical anime cat girl kind of thing and sit here, like, making cute noises and shit. Like, he literally just comes in and, like, bleats out like he's a fucking sheep or something, you know? So yeah, I've got that going on in the background. But yeah, I've had so many different times where I've been on, like, I don't know, I've been on either calls or something like that, and there's just, like, Phoenix does some weird shit in the background, and I always get asked about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's my cat. But nobody really believes that he's a cat, because a lot of the time he doesn't sound like a cat. Like, he's got a very distinct meow. Whereas Azula's got the most delicate little, like, quiet meow. Mind you, apparently she screamed at Nick earlier because he wasn't walking up the hallway fast enough, which is outstanding. But, you know, she's generally pretty quiet. I'm going to steal that one away from here. I don't know if I've got any more indoor things I got to mine. Sort of. I could pop one down here. I can block this hallway a little bit. And get that mining. Working on it. We're working on getting this shit out of here. That there. That should be still pulling up underneath here. We're getting steel and shit. I just want to do the best to like pull it out. Wakes are happily yawning, snuggling with full plush. No, Farkin's getting all sleepy because he's dived out of the box where you can tell happily he's laying down snuggling with full plush. No. Creativity is odd. Lol. To get high density energy, you have to pressurize propane a lot more than it's mixed propane and butane. Actually, butane sounds like the shit we use. That sounds familiar. Since butane is much more denser and pure, it's got a much higher boiling point. You don't need such a ridiculously strong container. Add tons of weight. The flame is probably less hot or less clean. I don't know, butane sounds like about right. I don't really know my like various barbecue gases. I'm not familiar with that shit. But all I know is you can literally just go and like pick up a round grey canister thing from like most servos and barbecue with it. Obviously, if you want to, you can also just do like charcoal and all sorts of shit. There's a million different types of fucking ways to barbecue. But I don't know. I don't trust loose embers. Like, especially since like until really recently I was living in a fucking bushfire hazard zone. So yeah, you don't fuck with that. Like, I did used to have a what do you call it, one of those outdoor brace and burner thingies or whatever. Not like a brace and burner thing. It's like a thing that sits on the ground that you put like coals and shit in, and it warms the ambient air and shit so that people can get warm. I had one of those for a while. Every time I had that out, it had to be like, we had to like wet the grass and shit for like a set radius beforehand. And then afterwards we'd have to hose it down and like actually hose all of the embers and shit out of it until everything absolutely was extinguished. You couldn't just like not. It's like this area, like until recently, like recent years I should say, we were surrounded by like eucalyptus trees and shit, and that shit burns like crazy. So yeah, don't want that shit to go up. I'm glad that they're making more of the beds. I just need, that's right, I need somebody that can do planting. There should be somebody out and about at this time of day that can do planting. You'd think. I know what you do, Nitro. Let's find out. Crafting. I've got to have somebody out here that's doing planting. Like, what do you two must do it? No. I'm looking for people that are actively doing shit with plants. Because, like, they've got to be doing something, you know? And there's a lot of people up here. None of them have got the skills. You do. Hold on. How do you feel about going and chopping down some trees? Diffusing butane mix. Yeah, look, I'm just not sure what we fucking use here. Like, at the moment, it's pretty irrelevant to me anyway, because, like, I don't have a barbecue. So I don't need to so much, like, worry about it, and we don't have, like, the old gas canister or anything. But, yeah, if I was probably gonna ask somebody what was in it, I could probably easily find out. I just have no need to now. Just this waking forces snowy wolf bush. No, if I can. It's snow time. I was there for that chat, actually, or at least one of them. Yeah, no, that was a Diablo one. I figured you might have been there, but it's one of those things where even if somebody is around, I don't assume that they are 100% there and caught the thing, because it could literally just be like the difference between you like walking out and grabbing a drink. I do that shit all the time when I'm watching people. I fuck off to go grab a drink or grab some food or go to the bathroom or whatever, right? Because I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to announce like that I'm coming and going nonstop, because I move around a fair bit usually when I'm watching people. And I'm like, it would just be spamming their chat nonstop with like kind of pointless stuff. in my opinion. Like, it's still nice. Like, I still try to like let people know it's like, oh, I'm not actively here or something like that for a minute or something like that or whatever, because like it's just, I feel like it's courtesy kind of thing. Like, but I assume that anybody that's like catching my stream, I just naturally just assume that like at any given point in time they are genuinely like not in the vicinity or not able to hear the stream, or anything could happen, right? So I just assumed that, you know, if you were there, you might not have even heard it, you know. A slightly increased risk of carcinogens and charcoal barbecues. Yeah, I remember that. Correctly, especially if directly cooking from raw, because the fats fall off meats produce various carcinogens when they burn out the coals, then thrown up in the flames back in the meat. Yeah, I heard all about that. For a while, there was this big hoo-ha about trying to like spook people with that. It's like, I figure it like this: we're all gonna die, right? I know that's really morbid and shit, but like eventually we're all gonna die. Like, if you enjoy like cooking your shit over like charcoal, or if you like eating specific foods that are more likely to kill you or whatever, but you enjoy them and they're not doing you any like active daily harm in any way, like they're not impacting your life or anybody around you and stuff, they're just a food that's like probably going to have side effects and you're aware of it and you don't care, I see no problem with that. Like, obviously it's more people down the line that have probably got specific conditions that they need specifically trained medical personnel and shit like that. Like, I understand a little bit of that side of it, right? But realistically, it's everybody's own choice if they want to like engage in whatever they choose for themselves, you know. That's just sort of how I see it. Because I'm like, I remember when I was a teenager, I was drinking like green tea. Like, mostly I was being made to drink green tea. But like, I still remember that like some of the people I was going to school with and shit, they were just like, oh, you don't drink green tea, it's gonna give you breast cancer or something. And I'm like, look, everything fucking gives you cancer. Like, ain't nothing out here that ain't gonna give you cancer. Starters, we're in Australia, so we got like really bad like sun, right? So, and then like I'm fair as shit, and my family's got like history of like various skin cancers and shit. So I'm like, look, there's probably a pretty good chance I probably already got something. If not, I'm probably going to get it from something. But if it's going to come from green tea, that's, I don't know. I also had somebody tell me the same thing with chips, like potato chips, like the bag chips stuff you get. Right, I know I've got to narrow that down when I say it because I have no actual word identifiers for it. But yeah, I remember eating like a packet of chips and somebody's like basically like almost smacked it out of my hand and like, don't eat that, it'll give you cancer. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, at this point, I'm like, I literally hadn't had, oh, my group's back. I hadn't had chips in so fucking long. And I'm like, this one bag, if this one bag's going to be what does me in, like, fine, I guess. Like, I couldn't have prevented it. I'm already eating them. But, yeah, I'm like, compared to, like, the average person that probably snacks on them pretty frequently, like, my one bag every other year probably isn't going to be that bad kind of thing. Plus, it's not that I'm worried about. Like, there's so many other things that I could literally come into contact with, you know, that could probably be more harmful. Like, I literally have a stove, like my oven, right? Its seal has been broken for like a year or two, and it's literally like fallen off. The damage that it's done to my counters around it, because I can't afford to like fix the shit, right? And the noxious ass fumes that have come off that thing whenever it heats up, I'm pretty sure that thing's killing me far faster than a packet of chips and a green tea, you know? Not saying that in like a good way, but like, you know, just like rationalize this shit a little bit, you know? Everything's trying to kill you in one way or another. I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably should at some point probably get the oven fixed. Eventually when we get like free money and shit, like that we can like, I need that to be wood. Basically when we can get to the point where we have like money available, I'll fix shit. But at the moment it's all like pre-allocated crap. How did I miss the one here? I had to have unallocated that for it to be like that. I also see that they're pulling up all the floor underneath here and I don't want that. Like, it's not a problem if they do because, like, I can fix it, but, yeah. There's also a spot there, but I can't undo that. So we tend to pre-cook our meat halfway before throwing it on the barbecue anyway, to get a more even cook, purely for taste reasons. So I'm not worried about it. It just tastes so fucking good. It sounds interesting. It kind of reminds me of like when people do that like pan searing shit before ovening kind of thing to kind of seal in the juices. I actually do something similar with the oven, but what I do is I like turn it on really, really hot initially, and that forces the outside to basically like heat up, and the outside kind of cooks, and then you turn it down to whatever temperature you want to like slow it on, and the inside then traps all the moisture inside and the meat stays fucking juicy. So yeah, I do pretty well with like ovening shit. But yeah, barbecue stuff here is like you literally just take it out of a meat tray or whatever and slap it on a barbecue and it's fine. Like, you know, that's just how it kind of works here. Like, shit drips, you just clean your barbecue later. Like, if it's got like little burnt spots or whatever, it's fine, it's just taste. Also, where did this group go with the caravan animals? There. I just want to make sure these get dumped off. I didn't grab everybody then, but I grabbed a lot of them. There you go, the dromedaries. Alright. I know that horse is unloaded. It looks like it's got a backpack. Oh, I gotta wait till they get out of here. I'm not gonna unload them in here again. That's a mistake that I did. I never got my resources out of here for ages. Actually, no, I don't have panthers in here. I got one. Hey, we have hops. Holy shit, hold on, I'm in the way. We have our first stored animal hops. Holy shit. Holy crap, it's like the 2nd of December. I wasn't expecting to have storage of food for them. Like, I was hoping. I just wasn't ready for it. Like, holy shit. When did that sneak in there? There had to be a panther working on that. But yeah, we got more shock lances in here. I want to grab... Oh yeah, I grabbed that one dude and I got him to cut down a tree, but that's probably the most I did. How are we going for wood? 190. It's coming back up tonight. Well, there's probably a few people around. I'm just going to look for people that are legitimately just people that can grow shit, cut the stuff. I know you're probably going to be tired, but I have a few trees around. I need to allocate my trees. Hold on. I need to make sure I can cut everything. Because my thrombos are supposed to eat the trees, but they don't. They come in, they eat other shit. So it hasn't been a huge issue. Like, it was when we were starving, but it's not now. And I just want a few people to just be allocated like a handful of trees if I can. You know? So that way we can get some more wood. Preferably before winter hits. You know? I miss a lot of stuff due to someone interrupting or gaming or zoning out. So it's a valid assumption. Focusing is hard. But it's fine. Like I said, like, I don't expect people to be here 100%. Like, even if you are here, I don't really expect people to actually be here. You know? Like, a lot of the time people are playing games and... I took Lobster's tree. A lot of the time people are playing games and I'm in the background. I fully expect to be somebody's background noise, realistically. When I basically like started my channel and I had to think about like, what do I want to kind of do? What kind of a person do I want to be, kind of thing. I'm like, what do I enjoy? Was really the first question I like sat on, and it was essentially, I like having shit in the background. I like listening to stuff. Like, sometimes I like being super focused and actually watching something, but a lot of the time I like just having some kind of like background noise, a bit of something to listen to and stuff. And I'm like, fuck it, that's what I'm aiming for. But the thing is, like, as you know, I'm always talking anyway, so it's good in a way. I don't know, I'll be honest, I didn't really plan out the talking part. I really thought that I'd have a lot more trouble streaming and talking, communicating and shit. But yeah, no, it's all good. So I mean, if you're cooking partially on the griddle, the inspired taming fatsu, nice. Inspired creativity now. I'm liking that people get inspired in here. It's great. If you're cooking partially on the griddle, partially on the grill, you don't need to do the oven cook anyways, since it should be enough heat distribution without literally charring the burger. Just use it only to have disposable barbecues, which only have crappy grill until 5 or so years ago. That's where the practice came from. That's fair. That's pretty cool to know though, because like, yeah, I don't know. I've seen like, I watch like Guga and some other people and stuff, right, do cooking and shit, right? For all the years that I couldn't eat meat, I watched a lot of people cook meat vicariously. Anywho, I always thought it was a little bit weird when I saw, like, the first time I ever saw somebody cook something on a pan and then they put it in the oven or vice versa, and I'm like, man, that's just like extra steps. It was a lot of like, that's a lot of extra steps, like as in like actually like hovering over your food and monitoring it and shit. But then the other side of it was like, you dirtied up a pan, or you like dirtied up something that now you also have to wash, because I'm quite lazy with like the cooking to cleaning sort of ratio sort of stuff. I will try to minimize what I'm using so I don't have to clean as much in the first place. And that's usually great and stuff, because like as long as it's not like some kind of complex recipe, like for instance like meat fritters, I can use one bowl, but like cooking the actual meat fritters itself will aerate oil and shit, so it tends to make a mess anyway, kind of stuff. Or I'll have to use like a spoon and a spatula and shit like that, so it's just like extra stuff that gets a bit gunked up that I have to then wash. But yeah, whenever I see, or in particular, whenever I used to see, you know, the food channels that used to have like 50 tiny bowls to like just add a couple of ingredients in like teaspoon formats, and I'm like, I think when I like first moved out, I'm like, oh, this is probably what proper adults do, because like I never learned how to cook and shit, right? So like I never really witnessed anybody actually really like kind of like cooking. Like I'd been around my parents and shit, but like I never did any cooking. So I'm like, well, this is what proper adults do, is they have like 50 little tiny bowls and like 3 or 4 other various bowls and all these utensils. And I remember doing that like once or twice, and I remember just looking at the huge mound of like dishes afterwards, and I'm like, never again. I'm like, I worked out that when you cook stuff in the oven, I used to use trays and shit, and then I'm like actual proper metal trays, or like ceramic trays and shit. And then I realized that you could literally just put a little bit of alfoil, literally just like a thin fucking strip of alfoil onto like the grill trays or whatever in the oven, and that was good enough. Shit still worked, and I'm like, huh. Okay, this is a lot less cleaning up. Obviously, it's not always a lot less cleaning up if something pierces the fucking foil or splatters or some shit, right? But I got very good at making little, like, alfoil boats to cook on. And in particular, when I do, like, nachos and stuff, we actually do need a proper, like, pan for that. But we shove, like, a shit ton of alfoil or baking paper in it first. So it makes cleaning it so much easier. Because, like, fuck that. Like, who the hell wants to fucking soak something and then, like, clean it later and shit? I'm sure somebody out there is like, oh, this is terrible. How disgusting. And I'm like, fuck off. You want to do dishes? That's great. I don't. So I'm not wasting that time. But yeah, I don't know. I've just come across, I think, like, most of this is probably just lazy hacks from just living on my own at some point and being like, I'm not doing that. But then some of it is, like, also just interesting creativity of learning shit doesn't have to be done the way people in society and shit tell you it has to be done. So I've said this before, but like if like you're struggling to like get your dishes done or something like that, there is absolutely nothing wrong with like slapping that shit as it is in a dishwasher and running the dishwasher a couple times. Yes, it uses a little bit more water, but did you have the energy to deal with it? Were you going to be able to cope with that shit today? If the answer is no, there's no harm in that. You know, the water will eventually go get purified, get fucking recycled. Somebody else will drink that later. It'll be fine. You know, it'll eventually come back into the system. So don't stress. Just there's different ways to do shit. Just get creative. Whatever works. Mind you, there's also some times where it, like, doesn't necessarily work. Like, the funny thing is, I've said this before, I keep all my clothes in a basket. I just don't really hang it up unless it's something I actually need to like hang up, like something like big and decorative or some shit, right? In which case, yeah, then it's probably better I hang up. But for the most part, because like I don't hang up shit, I don't fold anything or anything like that. Like it's literally just whatever. It's just in a basket. The only problem with that is obviously if you have got pets and shit, there is a downside to this, right? Is sometimes being lazy puts things in the way of getting dirtied. Like, for instance, you know, having a basket at the end of your bed and then having a cat stand up and puke in said basket. Like, that obviously equals more washing. So, like, there's little things like that that aren't so great. But, like, then you gotta weigh up, like, how often does your cat throw up, really? How likely is it to do that specific action again? I don't know. I love for like as active a person as I've always been, there's some things that I'm just like extremely lazy on. And it's stuff like that. It's like shit around my house, realistically. Because like all the rest of it, is it, you pissed off because, no, you're going to rest, that's fine. I thought it was one of the guys I told to go cut down a tree. I'm like, he's fine. Yeah, I don't know what I was on about. It's fine. I've nearly got as many people as I can to come out and cut down whatever trees are around the place. Now, ideally, it would be great if I could get some people to like move some shit too, but you know, I'm not gonna force a hand. I'm just gonna get hopefully 1,000 or so surplus of wood. I hope out of this. Like they'll bring it in eventually. I've got a lot of wooden beds. I've got a lot of wooden doors to make. I have field stoves that require wood. This is going to go pretty quick, to be fair, but I need it over winter, especially to keep the campfires around the place stocked. That would be ideal. Plus, each person I've selected is a really good, like, designated gardener for the most part. There are people in here that do other stuff, but once they're available, once they wake up, because I'm kind of trying to allocate it after they wake up in the morning, if they can. And some of these trees are starting to die off for winter. Some of them are still growing, but I think they'll shrivel up soon. So I just want to get them while I can get them. I'm pretty sure you get the same amount of wood if they look like that shit versus if they got like leaves on them or whatever. But I personally don't want to find out. I'll wait. Sorry. I have this like weird soft drink mixture at the moment. It's like Coke and lemonade. It's not that weird, but like I also have like passion fruit pulp shoved in it, and I got like a shard of passion fruit pulp down somewhere it wasn't supposed to be just then, and it's sharp. So I have stopped. I've stopped myself from eating the fucking chocolate peanuts on stream because I keep fucking having issues with like the shards of it, making me cough and stuff. But yeah, this. I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but I've got a lot of pulp at the bottom. I've got to kind of like, basically like swill that shit down. So, just give me a second. Hopefully we don't get too many coughs. I don't know if you guys can hear me chewing on them. I assume you can. Because they're pretty fucking loud. They're the passion fruit seeds. Sorry. I'm like, I realized that my avatar was like reacting and I'm like, wait a minute. You guys can probably hear this one. I'm usually a lot quieter with shit. I most definitely can hear them. Hey 0048, welcome in. What are you up to? Yeah, I realized I probably should have maybe put that between 2 glasses of drink instead, because that was a lot of like passion fruit pulp. Mind you, when I went and got passion fruit pulp this year, right? Because I normally like to like put it in like a cup of lemonade, mix some other shit, right? It was like mostly syrup this year. I was really like not pleased with the whole situation because usually you get like a lot of what do you call it? You get like a lot of like juice and pulp, and passion fruit's like tart, and I love that shit. But yeah, this year it was in like some kind of like a sugary syrup shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I can't do